Hi there, it's Mark from Mark's Repairs and Tutorials, and I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to change the oil in a 5 Series BMW. This is an E60 or E61, and I'm doing it on a 530i, which is a straight inline 6-cylinder BMW. Now, I came into this thinking, okay, oil change, done it on lots and lots of BMWs before, it's going to be easy. I've done it on X5s before and 3 Series before. And pretty soon I'm going to be doing it on a 1 Series. It's about to come up due as well. But this was simply stinking difficult. I wanted to get the car up a bit, so I had some boards, and I drove the car up onto some boards, which raised it up about 2 inches at the back, which makes a difference on a car that's really low to the ground. So I just raised both the wheels up so that when I jacked the front, the whole car would come up further. But first thing I came across, jack points, where to actually put a jack stand under here. I had a look online and all the different stuff I could find, and the brilliance of it, they're saying, you know, there are jack points here, which there are, and I've got that jack on a jack point, but when the jack's on the jack point, you cannot then put the stand under the same point. So where to actually put your safety stands becomes an issue. I found a reasonably solid point. Now don't risk your life on this, I certainly wouldn't. But there's a reasonably solid point in front, what appears to be solid, but underneath here it is all flat plastic and sheets of plastic, and even the suspension bits are all not flat, so you can't put a stand on it. So this car absolutely is not designed to have a jack stand anywhere safely under the front of it, unless you can somehow jack it up and then use the jacking points to put a jack stand under. But for me, if you jack it up on this side, you're using the jacking point already, so you can't get the stand under it. Anyway, I won't waste time with that. Okay, so as we come under, here's the front of the car, going right down the middle. There's that vent. You'll be able to locate that on your car, which is just a little bit forward of the wheels. And then back from the vent is where this cover is. Now I've removed this already, but you'll have a cover there. It just takes a few bolts or even a big screwdriver to get that off. And then up in here is where the sump plug is. It is right there. Here is the sump plug, pointing at it right now. Right there. And we're going to get that off. And this one has been leaking a little bit, but the oil filter should always come with a new seal. So we'll put a new seal on there. But I can see there's been a bit of oil blowing around down there, as clearly as coming from that, so it's good to get that replaced. Now another thing, here across from it, see when this first comes out, it can shoot oil up, which gets up on the top here. You can see there's been oil distributed all over. And a really good tip I want to give you is directly across from the plug, tape a bit of cardboard so that if it does flick all the way across there, it'll hit the cardboard and come down into your drain pan. Okay, here we go. Now, see the bit of cardboard? I've put this here because otherwise the oil shoots out and it actually ends up on top of this guard here. And you can see that's happened before. It's all saturated with oil, which has come from that happening. It just makes a huge mess, drips oil everywhere. So, simple little one, I've just torn the cardboard so that it slops into place and holds in place. Torn it there, and now we're going to get this out. Now I'm going to use a spanner. I've got sockets and all the rest of it. Now it's 17 mil. Now to all the Americans out there, I love you, but it's a German car, okay? It's in metric, it's not in imperial. 11/16 will fit, but if you're wondering why your nut gets stripped off or anything like that, it's a 17 mil. The wheel nuts on this are 17 mil. The oil nut is 17 mil. It's metric. It uses Torx and it uses metric spanners. So do yourself a favour, get hold of a 17 mil so it's the right size. And I'm using a ring spanner because it'll just go on nicely. And then we can undo this. Obviously got to put a bucket underneath first, undo it, and drain out the oil. Okay, I've got my glove in place because I'm going to get oil on my hand, and it's also because it's hot when I take that bolt off the final little bit and drop the oil out. Now I'm using a bucket. I would normally use a proper oil drain pan. I would recommend you do. It's got a bigger area and it's nice and low. I've searched for mine and it's gone walkabout. I absolutely cannot find it. So now the car's all jacked up. I'm not going to go for a drive anywhere to go and buy another one.
putting pressure on the nut as I wind it out so it doesn't pop out, so I can control when I let the nut out. I'm trying to get this bucket. It's awkward because the bucket's too tall. Get yourself an oil drain pan. I wish I knew where mine was. Not a worry. Here we go. Yes, it did hit the cardboard. Can you see that? Still slamming into the cardboard. Would have hit that top edge for sure. Here is the drain nut I just took off. And as you can see, they've put silicone on it. And there's no washer on there. They've just put silicone on and thought that would be good enough. Every time I've ever bought an oil filter, no matter where I've bought it from, it's always come with a new washer. If not 2 new washers for the drain oil plug, like a metal one and a fibro one, and a new O-ring for under the oil cap. But yeah, no, these jokers haven't done that. The moral of this story is if you're in Melbourne, Australia, don't get your BMW service to some Volvo place. The joker that was on our 5 Series before we owned it. You know, people were taking the car and paying money to have it. It had 4 different brands of coil packs over the spark plugs in it, different model numbers, different brands. The spark plugs were the wrong size, they were physically the wrong length in the engine, and now I pull the oil out and he hasn't even put the washer on here. He's just put silicone. I mean, look how far up the thread it is. You do not want that getting inside your engine. So unfortunately this car's had a rough history, and the thought that just taking it to a mechanic is a good thing, well, there's news for you. You're using YouTube, so get on Facebook, get on a local group and say, where do I take my BMW, and find a good place that's doing good work on cars, because a lot of people say they do good work, but they don't. That's actually why I do this work myself, because someone's going to take a bit of time and do it properly. Okay, now we move up top. Under here in the car is the oil filter, and BMW just has this black Interscript cap. It's in front of where the air goes into the engine here. Radiator's right here at the front, and it's right there. You can get like a cap fitting, particularly the right size, but BMW doesn't have these the same size all the way through. They do vary in size. So what I've got myself is one of these. And if you have a look, this is a good brand. That's why I've left it in the box so you can see it. It's quite heavy duty and it works really well. This is the second one of these I bought. The first one I ended up sending back. Now, if you can see here how this works, it actually opens up a bit like a spider's legs, but in both directions. This will tighten down. We want to undo this direction, so we turn the wheels around, the feet around like that, and we put this little socket head up on top. It takes a 1/2-inch drive in the top, or a 3/8 I think it is drive, the smaller one. A socket handle, an adjustable socket handle, and you put it so that it's going in the undo direction. So it's going to undo the oil filter cap. It fits in the top like that, and then as you undo it, it tightens and it undoes that cap right there. As you can see, the tighter you go, and then there she comes, that's going to come. And underneath here, as you unscrew this all the way out and then lift it out, is the oil filter. And that is going to look exactly like that. Just the paper element that goes inside of these, and with a BMW you will always get a brass washer. That is for the sump plug down below, and you get a little rubber washer. There's a little point on the thing that comes through. You've got the cap here, and then there's a frame inside here, and then there's a little point that comes through. You can replace that little O-ring and also replace the big one. That's the O-ring that goes around here. And every filter, even the generic Chinese filters, come with those spares, so they do recommend that you replace those every time. So that needs to be switched out up top, and then right here is where the oil goes back into the car. So you fill it back up, and it is 7 litres into a 3-litre BMW, a 3-litre straight 6 BMW. But check that. Check out for your age of car and your model. Also, the this is here. Well, that's actually a generic part, but you do have to get the right oil filter. So be very specific when you're looking, because again, BMW has a lot of different filters. So it's not like, oh, 1 3-litre, 6, oh no, one fits all. Not the case. You've got to get the right year and the right engine, and then get the right filter for it.